Hello, Dwight Norris here of Fishing at Work. And today I wanted to talk about why fishing is good. Now you're probably wondering, why is this even a topic of discussion? I'm here because I love fishing, but some people may have gone astray. Maybe they've forgot about fishing. This is mainly who I'm going after. Fishermen who used to be fishermen. They've forgotten and they've run out of time, ambition, and are just sad and wondering, how do I get out there and go fishing more again, or really do anything to be happy and healthy. Now, I want to remind you that fishing has always been a good thing. It's been a great thing, a wonderful thing, a beautiful thing, and people need to be reminded of that. One reason fishing is good because it helps your health. Not just physically, you're getting out into nature and you're walking through the woods, you're getting that boat ready, you're working on your balance on the boat, something you don't normally do. You just don't sit in the water working on your balance most of the time. Usually you're sitting on your butt in the office, or you're working your butt off on some manual labor job. I've done both. They both kind of stink in their own way, but they have to be done because you got to pay those bills and you have your obligations to fill. Now, another part of health that you really haven't thought about is your mental health. Just being able to relax and free your mind and reduce stress can do wonders for your health. People don't really realize how much stress can really weigh them down over a period of time, and it can be detrimental to your health. And sometimes, for some people, it will come out in different ways. Other people will get sick to their stomach, they'll get sick more often, they'll have to go to the doctor for weird things, they'll have weird complications that nobody else in their family does, or maybe it'll come out externally. They'll have things popping out of the body, they'll have cold sores and ulcers, and ulcers are internal, but one big thing is shingles. If you're not old and you have shingles, it's because you have high stress. And that's more apparent than people know. If you think that you are going to be shingleless because you're young, think again. It can happen to you. Do not let stress take over your life and hopefully take over part of your body with serious fire-like pain. Not cool, I hear. Not cool at all. Another valuable lesson for why fishing is good is the fact that you get to learn a little something about success and failure. Now, most people don't really think about it the correct way, I believe. Most people believe that failure is a bad thing. They think when they failed, they're useless. They're no good to anybody. Everybody's proved them wrong. Oh, you can't do that. That's not possible. That's impossible. If I can't do it, you can't do it either. And you start to buy into those thoughts and those opinions. And if you think about that long enough, you'll start to believe it. It'll become truth. Like they say, if you want to fail, all you have to do is stop trying, and you will become a failure. You can't succeed if you don't try. You can't win if you don't show up. It's the same deal. So when you're confronted with failure, like you are in fishing, sometimes fish aren't biting. Sometimes that new technique, that new lure, that new space or area you thought was going to be super cool, that new bass boat or whatever else you thought that was going to give you instant success, turns out not to be true. It actually turns out you need to work hard. You need to actually learn about what you're doing and how things interact with other things, the environment, how the fish move, how the fish actually see and visualize a bait, about the seasons, about the water clarity, about the temperature, about what area you're in, a pond, a lake, an estuary, a river, an ocean. It's all different. Nothing's the same. Oh, if I just throw a worm in there, I'm gonna catch something, right? Maybe most of the time. But sometimes you can't catch what's not there. And if you don't know it's not there, you'll be casting your line over and over again and failing over and over again, not knowing what's wrong, and you may blame yourself. But it's not your fault. You just don't know. And that's why failure is a good thing. Because once you know there's a problem, you can take action to fix it. And you should really do that whenever you have the possibility of doing that. Because overcoming failure is something that can reach much further than, fishing. It can work in your personal life, or if you're dealing with social problems or work problems or education problems. It can, as the same way it helps out in business. In business, it's an extremely big thing. Everybody knows that anybody who has made it big has failed over and over and over again. And the people that usually give up, they give up and go try something else. And that's something called the shiny object syndrome. They go to the next best thing. Oh, I thought that was cool. I'm gonna try that out for a while. It was started off cool, but now it ain't working anymore. I'm gonna try this out. And that little wheel just keeps spinning around, and you end up right back at the same place. Because really, it's more of it's not a straight line to success. If I keep casting this line, I'm gonna get better and better every time. There's gonna be dips and little squigglies on your way there, but you're still taking action, so you're still getting better. But it's not every time you go up. It's not a game where you get experience points. Maybe it is a game. You get experience points and you get killed and you go down a little. But then you work hard and you get better at not dying or, getting hit or using hit points, and you go up again. If you play games, maybe you'll understand that. But that's the way life is. There's always a dip. And usually that dip is just so bad, people think they failed and it's all over. But if you keep going forward, you'll see that that's just a step in the process. If you keep pushing and keep learning, you'll be back on an upward trend and you'll reach your solution, your success, or whatever else you're trying to reach for. So that's one big lesson that you can learn through fishing. Probably didn't think you would learn something like that. Fishing, would you? We can learn it many ways, but it is definitely one way. Actually, for example, I'll tell you, I was teaching my son how to cast, and I was like, I have no prior experience with this. Nobody really taught me how to cast. I taught myself how to cast, so this is a lesson for both of us. So I made up a little, a little skill. So I had a small little fishing rod, and I tied a very large bobber, like the biggest one I could find, the brightest one. It was orange and yellow. I mean, you can see it. And in fact, it was really heavy. That's what I really wanted. So I tied it on there, and I told him, I want you to cast 10 feet out there to that bush. And our yard is only 7 to 8 feet wide. So if he throws sideways, he's gonna be throwing the cars. And I was like, don't hit the cars, but for my son. So he took it a lot better than I thought he did. It did almost go out past that sidewalk and hit him, but over a period of 20 or 30 minutes, I kept re-showing him, watch where the bobber goes. You have to do your steps. First, the first step is put your finger on the line, because it's a spinning rod. So you have to put your finger on the line, then you open up the bail, that's step 2, and then you take it back to a full back position, and you swing it, and once you reach 0 degrees, I always call it 0, you let go of your line, and it should go forward. And every time you do that, I want you to track where it goes. And the fact that he's using a very bright bobber allows him to do that. He can see his progress. He can see if he does something different, that there's an actual consequence. There's a type of failure. I failed this way, I failed that way, I failed this way. I'm going to follow the steps and see where the steps take me. I might need some adjustment because I'm a smaller size. Or maybe I need to go at 3 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock to reach where I want to go. But he makes adjustments and he actually improves on that because he sees his failure and he sees where success is, and he incrementally keeps working, keeps taking action on those issues so he can reach his success. And by the end, it must have been about 2 or 3 hours, he was hitting that bush or getting within a foot, I'd say about 70% of the time or more. I was quite astonished. I was like, I would have not been that good learning how to do this. It was me. Because I was honestly scared of using a weight or something with a hook to get him the first try this. Because if it swings back and hooks him in the face or something, or it just, knocks him in the nose, he might get angry. He might get angry at fishing and just quit the whole thing. You don't want that for your children. You want them to fail in an environment that's safe. And that's also good for you. You don't want to, put all your life savings into this new venture, like a real estate venture, and you buy a complex, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna fill this place full of people. I'm gonna get high values on the rent, and it's gonna go fantastic, and then you get it done and it's not filling up as fast as you want to. You have to drop the prices, and people get in there and start complaining. Things are breaking, you're replacing furnaces, and there's water leaks and all kinds of problems, and money's just leaking out the bottom, and you're like, I thought this was gonna be awesome. I thought this was gonna be it. We're gonna be sitting on the shores on some fantastic island with this new investment, but now I'm barely breaking even. I'm actually working just to make no money. And that's the hard way to go down. That's a hard lesson. That's a hard failure. And with fishing, you really won't have too many of those unless you're a pro fisherman and you like lose the Bass Pro Bassmasters Classic by like a pound because you made a not so smart decision by maybe letting go the wrong fish, and then you get the smaller one next thinking the big one was there. Not speaking from experience, but that's the way it goes. So went a little deep on that topic of why fishing is good, but I think it needs to be said about success and failure. It's a very big thing, because a lot of people give up on fishing because it's hard. You have to work and day in, day out, and the weather gets cold, and now the fish aren't biting so good. Oh man, I'm gonna pack it up and do something else. Maybe I'll go hunting. Maybe I'll try a new sport, or maybe I'll just sit on the couch and watch fishing. That's a little safer. I think I had one more thing I wanted to say why fishing is good. Well, there is another thing that's fishing good. It's good for really the environment. We're keeping everything level, and when people are active in their environment, they actually care about it, and they're actually advocates for the environment. So when something goes bad, and you see trash going down your river, like I see in Charles still, they say it's cleaner now, but I'm seeing motor oil bottles, liquor bottles, paraphernalia, and like sometimes even like underwear. I'm like, where is this stuff coming from? Why is it getting in the river, and why is this floating randomly by, getting stuck in the lily pads? Who's gonna clean this crap up? Like, obviously it's not gonna be me. I don't have time, but if I had the time and I had the right material, I have to pick this stuff up because it's ridiculous. I actually had a conversation with a guy who was on the Charles River Esplanade, and we were both watching this large rusted can go by, and he's like, oh man, he's like, I'll pay you $5 if you can hook that can and bring it in. And I was like, man, I wish I could grab the can with my hook. One, I'm an awesome fisherman and caster, and two, I'll be able to clean this place up a little better. But some of those things I don't want to touch. So just being a better advocate, as myself, I think I'll be joining the local, not sure, I think there's like a fisherman kind of group, and they might be more inclined to help out or get involved with the environment and cleaning up the river and the local the Boston Harbor as well, which has gotten way better over the years after all the manufacturing and stuff have stopped leaking all their chemicals into the river, and the fish have come back, even the trout and smallmouth bass, which don't like dirty water. So that's a very key thing. So those are 3 things why I think fishing is good, and fishing is healthy, and fishing can help you learn about success and failure. So try to think about these things on beautiful days like this in the fall, and get ready for your fall fishing. And remember that fishing is good, and you should share your love for fishing with everybody, not just yourself.